Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently in a bit of a stalemate in Europe, and we're kind of opting into that stalemate at this point. We've stopped our aggression on this line here. We're not really trying to push forward at this moment, and we're just holding here, and that's fine. In terms of our other fronts, we're working on Crimea here. We'd like to take Sevastopol, and if we do that, I believe that the rest of Crimea falls. So that's great. Over in Africa, my diagnosis on this is we have too many armies right here. So I'm going to move some of these armies out over to this side. Specifically, I'm going to move two of them, and it's going to be these two. So we're going to move them out over here. So I'm going to have this be a front line right here, and we're going to assign this army here and this army here. So we're going to have 3 armies pushing from this side and 2 armies pushing from this side. And then we'll run an offensive line. I don't know what direction this is trying to run. I think we can just assign these like so. So I'd like to push at least to here. And similarly here, I'd like to push over to here. So we'll get those going, and that should clean things up quite a bit. Once we're done with this, I plan on having this entire army group head over here, clear this out, and then we can start thinking about opening up a new front over here with this army group. Maybe this army group is freed by then, and then in South America, we cut this corridor previously. And I want to grab everybody that's over here, that is this army group, and I want to have them front line, something kind of, or rather offensive line, something kind of like this. They can just get going on that. So we just need to work our way through this, and that'll be absolutely fine. If we can collapse this out over here, that will consolidate our front, and we can clean up South America relatively quickly, and then these guys can also be devoted to opening up a new front in Spain. So that's absolutely wonderful. We'd be delighted to do that. It doesn't look like they have any defenders on the coast down here. I don't know why we have a railway gun in Lisbon. That's interesting, but we're at war with Lisbon. I'm not sure what's going on with that one, but we definitely do want to open up another front out over here. There's no doubt about that. Now, these guys out here, they've been struggling to make their way in here, and I'm not terribly shocked about that for right now. So let's just let this happen. We're pulling 2 armies back, and that should lessen the supply strain out over here. We're still working on the supplies out here, but yeah, you can see we immediately start up attacking over on this side again. And that's pretty ideal. So I want to come out over here and see how long do we have on this. 10 days until we're ready to launch this attack. Okay. I'm going to move these guys out into their own army, I think. Did that completely break our preparation? It did. I should reload the game. Okay. That was exciting. The good news is we've not made too many significant changes, but we're going to have to redo what we just did, because I don't want to throw away all that preparation. That's a very dumb thing to do. So I'm just going to reload this, and we'll move them out into their own army after we get the invasion done. That'll be fine. I just want them in their own separate force, but apparently now is not the time to do that. Okay, down over here, we had these guys frontline right over here, and then we had this army assigned here and this army assigned here with their offensive lines. I'm just going to put their offensive line here is fine, to be honest. And we'll just do an offensive line out over here as well. There we go. So there's that done. Now, the other thing that we did was we grabbed this army group here, and we offensive lined somewhere around that-ish. And there we go. Okay, so now we can tick forward again, now that we've not thrown away 42 days worth of progress. It's very silly that it does that, but that is how the game works, unfortunately. So I just didn't want to throw away the time. It's not that we would have a problem with it. It's just a matter of keeping things moving, right? So at this point, we are going to continue to press in out over this direction. We definitely see some successful attacks ongoing out over here. And these guys have very limited supply levels, so that is absolutely fantastic. As far as all of this goes, these should be assigned here, I think, or maybe they're assigned here. This is this army group. Let's give them an offensive line that's just something kind of like this, and they can execute that. So we can start pressing in on this side where possible, but I'm not sure how much of that will be possible. Who's assigned to this? Okay, I see. This cuts off over here. Noted. Well, that's fine for now. We do need to get this area taken care of, so that's absolutely A-okay. So that's underway at this point. Are we ready to launch this invasion yet? We should be very close. Yes, we are now prepared to launch this. Do it. I want to see how this goes. They have 2 units defending in Sevastopol, but let's see if we're able to actually do anything about this. Okay. They're going to move reinforcements in here for sure. So now I'm wondering if we might not be better off attacking Kerch. Potentially. So they've got these slave armies here in Sevastopol. We can't really do anything with that. So I'm going to delete this order, and I'm going to change this to actually attack Kerch instead. So we'll get going on that. These guys will be assigned here, and that's absolutely fine. They'll need to prepare again, and we'll just allow that to happen. That'll take a little bit of time. But we definitely did prove a point, and that point is we can't take Sevastopol at this time. Now, Kerch, this is not necessarily in an ideal scenario either. So I'm just looking at the setup over here, and I'm thinking these guys are still getting a lot of supplies. We have 2 units on patrol here at this moment. I'm going to set one of these to convoy raiding. And the other one as well. Let's see what that does. With us convoy raiding here, are we now blocking the convoys? Because we just need to have their supplies stop flowing, right? That's the idea here. And it definitely looks like they do have some supply issues, but I want to check in on Africa. How's this going? Oh, this is going very well. Okay, so Africa is definitely proceeding nicely. We're pushing in on both fronts at this point, and that is absolutely huge. Anybody assigned to this, get in here, stack wipe them. Same thing here. Anyone assigned here, get in here, get rid of them. Perfect. They were not prepared for us to push from this side because we haven't done it up until this point. They have basically no troops here, and those that they did have, we encircled and are now stack wiping. So this is absolutely fine. In fact, this is over. This is very over. Let's check in South America here. We're still working on collapsing this. So I want these guys to get in here, and this is undefended here. We can shorten this front somewhat. So let's definitely do that. I'm very interested in cutting this in half. I'd like to see an attack right here. That would be ideal. Let's see if we can manage that. If we can cut that in half, that'll be a big deal for us. So back over here in Africa, let's get this all wrapped up. And we're just going to push in on this front. Again, we have basically no one stopping us over here. These guys appear to have forgotten about their offensive line order. And we're just going to have them come on in like that. Get in here. Perfect. So we've got a huge numerical advantage over here, and there's very little that they can do about it as long as we have supplies, which this logistics hub has finished, and we have a lot of supplies in this area now. Perfect. So Tobruk is now encircled, and we're working on that. Down over this direction, these guys, they're not going to last. Everybody get in here. Wipe them out. So that looks great. Out over this direction, this front we expect to be very static for the moment, and that's absolutely understood. I want to check in on this landing operation. How long do we have here? Okay, not too long. So we see that we are actually taking down convoys out over here now. That's very good. That's what I wanted to see. I assumed that patrol would attack convoys, but apparently not. Convoy raid is where we want to be. Sounds good. So at this point, we should start seeing them... They pushed out? Wow. That's actually remarkable. Push them back if we can. At the very least, consume a bunch of their supplies. So that's fine for now. They now have a beachhead on both fronts here, and we just need to keep raiding their supplies. But you can see here that they're apparently unable to find valid paths to their targets. That's interesting. We also see that they're starting to have some logistics problems. No doubt about that. So we just need to keep taking down the convoys. That's absolutely fine. As far as this out over here goes, this is pretty done, to be honest. So I want these guys to continue their push.
Hey, come on.
I want it to be, I guess, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, just do that. So just continue pushing up over here. They can't deal with both fronts here. In fact, at this point, they can't deal with one of these fronts, let alone two of them. So that seems absolutely wonderful. We'll get this cleared up very shortly. Let's check in on South America. So we're continuing to work our way through this. It's slow going, no doubt about that. I would love to cut these off again, like I said, and I want these guys to come on down here. Can they come in like this? They can come in like that, and I guess that's okay. So I want these guys to assist the attack here, and in the meantime, I want to do some tying down attacks in some of these areas. Okay, so we'll launch something like that, and we'll see how this is going to end up going, but this is slow going, that's fine. It's Africa that we're really interested in ending this front on, or rather ending this offensive in. So that seems great. Once we get Africa fully cleaned up, these guys will be able to be redirected to, like, the overflow theater. These don't have orders. These marine divisions are not actually on this. Okay. Well, they have to redo their preparation. They apparently forgot that they were assigned to this order, or I never assigned them. I'm not sure which. But for the time being, this is actually maybe not a bad thing for us, because this means that we can attack them without having to deal with the strait, which probably means that we can chip through their supplies faster. So this is maybe actually good that we had this situation occur. In the meantime, of course, we are continuing to work on their convoys out over here, and I want to get some planes out over there too. So we currently have our planes assigned down this direction, right? And I want to grab, this is our Navy map mode. I want to grab our planes, and I want to have them also be in the Black Sea, and they're on naval strike. Yes, that is exactly what I want. So we're going to redirect up over here, and we can probably toss additional planes in at this point. So I want to go to naval patrol bombers, and yeah, we've got a lot of planes here. So let's bring in another roughly 1,100, which is a ludicrous number of planes. But we've got them. So let's just move these. It's unfortunate that we can only move them 10 at a time, but there we go. Okay, so that's now 2,001 planes there. That's fine. So we'll just let that go, and we'll work on doing any bombardment of convoys out over here that we can. If we can destroy any convoys out here, that's good. We want these convoys gone, because we really don't want them able to supply this. So that's all great. Now, we did finish up some things here. How many cores do we have going right now? The answer is we have 1. That's fine. So that looks good. At this point, I would like to expand our iron mines near Kursk and Belgrade, and I want to check in. How are we doing on our iron? Minus 728 at this time. Okay, that is noted. Now, this infantry equipment is producing a decent amount, but we are still net negative about 1,500. So that's noted. We're going to ramp up our infantry equipment a little bit. This is producing some, and steel is going to be devoted to this. So this is going to ramp up. This is going to ramp up. We will get more production of that going. So that seems fine for now. So this is all getting wrapped up out over here. We're going to have these guys come on in. And these guys, they can come on in up over here. Why are you going to Tripoli? Okay, whatever. I want these guys to attack Tobruk, and I want these guys attacking down here for sure. Not necessarily all of you. You can do something like that. Okay, so I just want to wrap some of these up and consolidate together these fronts a little bit. So there's some stack wipes over here. That's perfect, and those will get redirected now, of course. And we'll just continue to work on that for now. We've got some really awkward attack orders over here. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to... All of these are the same army, right? Yeah, they are. So I'm just going to remove this order here. And that means that some of these guys are not assigned. So I'm going to assign these to this order and these to this order like that. Now they're all assigned, and I want to grab all of this, and I want to remove this offensive line. I now want to push a new offensive line down to the sea over here, like that. Okay, so we'll just do that for the moment, and eventually we'll get forces over here to defend this. Why don't you come on down here? And you guys are on your way in. Who's coming here? Absolutely nobody. They're going around to Tripoli because that's the only place where they can land over here. Okay, that's a little awkward. Let's maybe not fully abandon this line. Hang on. They're abandoning Tobruk. They've moved a lot of forces out of Tobruk. I would really, really like to come take this. At the very least, this is buying us some time. They're not pushing out this direction or this direction at this moment. If we can take Tobruk, this is huge. We just got it. Everybody assigned to this, get in here. You guys too. Tie him down and get into position. In the meantime, we're redeploying out over here, and that's absolutely fine for the moment. Now, over here in Crimea, the real question is, how are we doing on dealing with their supply flow? The answer is, it definitely looks slightly better for us here. I think they're struggling with their supply flow here. We are absolutely taking down a lot of their convoys. So that all sounds good. Africa is about to be wiped out. That's absolutely excellent. Let's check in on South America quick. So this is still slow going out over here for sure. I want to grab anybody that's assigned to these orders here. I want to make sure that these guys have an offensive line, and that offensive line should just be like down over here. It's kind of ugly, but it'll do. Similarly, these guys should have an offensive line that is about here. Yes, like that. And they can go ahead and execute that. So we'll get going on that, continuing to attack out in this area. I want to attack this with great prejudice at this point. I want to attack this very, very, very consistently. So we want to be heading in over here like this, assisting this attack here. I'd love to cut this in half. If we manage to do that, that's going to be huge. They moved 8 units in here. That was very rapid that they got there. Let's launch an attack up over here as well. And that'll be fine for the moment. So I would love to also start pushing back from these ends. These guys, they've got attrition down here. See if we can take that. Wait, we're just moving? They're retreating. They're retreating. Get in there. Okay, so that would be huge if we got that. That's a victory point. So I like that. Out over this direction, how do we feel like this is going? Well, it's more of the same. We're whittling through their supplies, and we're sinking more convoys than ever, but they're definitely still getting some supplies through Sevastopol, I think. But we are absolutely taking down a bunch of their convoys, and this is going to make matters a lot worse for them. I'm definitely seeing their organization amounts dropping. I don't think they can hold this for too much longer. Checking in on Africa, this whole pocket over here has fallen. So that means that everyone is now involved in this. However, we do have a little bit of an issue with supply out in this region. Now, we can use Tobruk to supply some of that. We can run a railway like this. Are these guys set to aggressively attack? They're not. Aggressively attack. Just get in there, do whatever you can. Push them back. All they've got is Benghazi. They don't have much supply flow either. So we'll just do that for now. Down over this direction, we're continuing to shrink this pocket. That's great. I'd love to cut off these guys, but we can definitely see they're taking attrition right over here. To that end, I want these guys to attack right here. We'll continue to push that in, shrink that pocket. I would love to see a successful attack out over this direction. I don't feel like we can really do that right now, so I'm not going to issue that order at this moment. In the meantime, we're going to continue to push in out over here, and my main question is, where's the nearest supply hub over here? Is this a supply hub? I don't think it is. They have to have one here, right? I guess it's just Benghazi. Okay. Well, we pocketed this area up over here. They're getting stack wiped. That's fantastic. So that's under control now. Everything is looking good there. I want to check in on this invasion. We can't execute it now, and I'm not sure I want to at this moment anyway. They've still got forces here, but look at that. They're taking attrition here now. They're not getting sufficient supplies. Crimea will fall. It's only a matter of time now. That's very, very good. So at this point, we're continuing to stagnate in Europe. That's fine for the moment. We're deliberately stagnating in Europe. But we're making good gains in Africa, and we're making good gains in South America at this juncture. And that's great. So for now, we're not making rapid progress in South America, but this pocket is huge. And this will allow us to consolidate together our fronts in a very, very significant way. So we're continuing to push in there. That looks good. This up over here doesn't actually have anyone in it. I'm going to send a tank unit up there. Never mind. They just teleported there. Okay. Maybe we didn't have intel on that area? I don't know. That's interesting. Regardless, we're attacking it, and I'm going to leave that be for now. So that looks good for the moment. We're continuing to press in various locations, and this pocket is shrinking. So that looks excellent. Down this direction, Benghazi is under siege. And we'll soon be attacking it from multiple directions. They can't hold this off for long. So that looks good. We're just continuing to press in here. We do definitely have some supply issues down here. I'm going to put in a supply hub here, although I don't expect that to be done by the time we get this taken care of. Like, this pocket will be cleaned out before this supply hub goes in. We should also probably have a supply hub about here. So that's fine for now. We'll get those underway. If we need them, then we'll have them. If we don't need them, oh well. It's not a big deal. So at this point, we're now pushing into Benghazi proper, and we're also working on surrounding Benghazi a little bit here. But it looks like Benghazi is about to fall. They can't reinforce because of our attack here, and we're about to get this done. Yeah, this pocket is cleaned. They have no further source of supply. So that's perfect. At this point, I want to check in on how things are going up in Crimea. They're definitely struggling over here. Can we launch this? Do it. This is looking weak. So let's go see if we can take Kerch. If we can, that's absolutely huge. Where are we right now? Where are those Marines? Oh, they're over here. That's an odd path to take, but okay, sure. So, we'll see how this goes, but it's not going fantastically well. We can keep trying this periodically. This is only going to get better for us in Crimea as we continue to work on this. I think Kerch is a better target for us than Sevastopol. I'd prefer to take Sevastopol, but I think we're much more likely to take Kerch. So I'm going to continue to assign these guys over here, and we'll continue to run those, but this is fine for the moment. So they're definitely running lower and lower on supply out over here. Supplies are getting very tight for them. Out over this direction, we're still not able to dislodge this. We'll do the same thing over here with supplies that we're doing in Crimea once we get Crimea taken care of. For now, everybody over here, just get in here. Eliminate them. There's very little left over here, other than this sandstorm, I suppose. Okay. So they're all getting pocketed, and that is absolutely fantastic. Everybody get in here. Let's get this taken care of once and for all. One of these days they'll stack wipe. But it was not that day. Remarkable. Try again. There's a stack wipe. Perfect. And we're going to start to see a lot more of those. You're retreating back here? They have access to the Libyan electorate? That's wild. It's actually very wild. I'm letting this unit make its way back in for now before I order the attack again. Our supplies in this region are low, and that's not surprising. One of these days they'll make their way back. Okay, just kidding. And we gave up. Get in here. Their supplies are getting lower and lower all the time. This is not going well for them. But it's not going as cleanly for us as I would have liked. I would have really liked this to be eliminated by now. Checking it up over here, we're definitely lowering their average organization out over here. It's definitely getting lower. But it's slow going. Very grindy. Okay. This is all about to stack wipe. And I don't think that they can launch an attack over here from neutral territory, can they? Well, they tried. If we abandon this, can they walk back into this from neutral territory? Like, that's kind of wild. Well, we're going to head up over here for now, and we're going to offensive line this same offensive line out over here. Get in there. And I'm going to keep an eye on these guys. I don't think they should be able to launch an attack from this territory. They can leave via the naval base that I'm assuming exists over here somewhere. Actually, it doesn't. But I don't think they can actually attack from here. So we'll see how that ends up going. We just pushed them back across the river here, and that's absolutely great. We're going to continue to attack out over here. That's definite progress. Out over this direction, we're close to pushing them back as well. So that's definitely weakening, and we're now launching our attacks over here in Tunisia, and that's going to collapse fairly soon with an entire army group on it. So I want to grab this unit here. No, I want to grab the unit here from our messy theater. That's going to go into the overflow theater and be reassigned. So off they go. The army group will handle this from here. Excellent. So that all looks good for the time being, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to wrap up probably this pocket down here and this pocket, and we're going to start proper planning on getting our way into having another front over here. I think we'll honestly just invade Gibraltar, most likely. We'll see what that ends up looking like, but that's going to probably be the plan. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.